So not in front of the microphone in the office in the normal setting, but nonetheless, I got a phone, I got a camera, video. We're gonna make it happen. I got a little drive, so I just wanted to quickly talk about the Super Bowl last night. First off, did anybody see the halftime show? Me being my age, that's my era, and I think a lot of you guys can relate. That's just where it's at. Like, that's music. I think everybody 30 plus definitely was in their bag last night. So much appreciated. Dr. Dre, 50 Cent, Eminem, Mary J, the Queen, Kendrick Lamar even. Never really been a huge Kendrick Lamar fan, but I liked his performance last night. That was pretty dope. Very fitting for LA. Super Bowl was at the new stadium in LA, which from everything it looked like it was beautiful. Packed with celebrities, and see my man LeBron was there having a good time. So it was good. I really appreciated that Super Bowl last night, as well as the halftime show. As far as the game is concerned, I mean, you couldn't ask for a better game. I mean, it came down to the last play. Most people had the Rams predicted to win that game. I know I did, but I didn't feel comfortable with it because the Bengals have, in my opinion, one of the best players in the NFL, Joe Burrow. I think we get caught up in stats, which, by the way, he puts up ridiculous stats too. But I think what speaks more for Joe Burrow is his impact. It's clear that Joe Burrow's impact, has, if not the best or one of the best impacts on his team than any other player in the league. And so I wasn't very comfortable with my pick because Joe Burrow, I think somebody made the point that Joe Burrow, anytime he's had to win games, he stepped up. Like, the guy never gets rattled. There's no moment that's too big for him. And so with that, I was a little nervous for the Rams, but I thought overall the Rams were a better team and they would end up winning the game like they did. To speak a little bit more about the Bengals, I feel like they're a very young team. They have a lot of talent. One glaring hole on that team is, protecting the quarterback. That's clearly their biggest concern. That's their biggest issue. They have a few solid pieces on their offensive line, but I feel personally like it's more than just the talent on the offensive line. I feel like it's the scheme. I'm not sure what's happening with the coaching, something with their play packaging or whatever. Joe Burrow was the most sacked quarterback in the league this year. And last night was just, a continuation of that. The Rams were able to get to him. Now, granted, you got two Hall of Famers, and Von Miller and Aaron Donald, who I'll speak more on in a minute. But that was a big issue. So the Rams, or the Bengals, I believe, have a bright future. Zach Taylor, who, shown to have a great season this year with having a healthy Joe Burrow. We'll see how good of a coach he really is, and see if they can continue the success that they have. You got guys like T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, obviously Jamar Chase, who's one of the best wide receivers in the game immediately. It's crazy. And then, like I mentioned, Joe Burrow, Mixon, who's one of the best running backs in the league. And they got some good pieces on their defense. Their defensive line pressured the Rams more than I thought. Like, it was a lot more pressure than I thought the Rams would endure. And the Bengals are a good team. They have a good defense. They're a very good team. Of course, they're in the AFC North. I'm a Baltimore Ravens fan, so I'll try to be as unbiased as possible when I say this. This season, the Ravens probably had historically the worst season ever for injuries, and I don't say that with any hyperbole. I mean, they literally lost pretty much almost all their starters, either immediately or at some point during the season. Very key parts: running back 1, running back 2, running back 3. Lamar Jackson got hurt at one point. We lost our Pro Bowl corner and Marcus Peters. We lost our All-Pro left tackle. We had other injuries all over the defense. So where I'm going with that is the Ravens were not, themselves this year. And I also feel like the Steelers were, and this is no disrespect to Ben Roethlisberger, but I feel like the Steelers were kind of, they were kind of strangleholded with Ben Roethlisberger and his deficiencies with him aging. You know what I mean? I feel like if they had a more dynamic quarterback or someone to give them more at the quarterback position this past season, they would have had a better year as well. I mean, they had the Defensive Player of the Year in J.T. Watt. I think next year the AFC North is going to be much better. You'll have a healthy Baltimore Ravens team. You'll have a healthy and I think younger, different Pittsburgh Steelers team. I don't even want to talk about the Browns. We'll see. If the Bengals can continue the success that they had this year. I knew they would be better, but I don't even think they envisioned, the Ravens running into the issues that they did, and then the Steelers, having the problems that they have. So it's going to be tough, but I would say in terms of like optimism and young talent and all that stuff, they have a lot to look forward to. So I guess to be determined for next season for them. The LA Rams now, formerly St. Louis Rams. So I've always been a fan of Sean McVay. He started out as a very, very young coach. I don't even think he was 30 years old when he got the position. And he brings a lot of energy. You can tell that he knows his stuff. And players, you can tell players like him. You know what I mean? And that's a great thing. They brought in Matt Stafford, who spent over a decade, I believe, in Detroit, or close to a decade in Detroit, which, by the way, Detroit's a great city. I was there earlier in the year. Shout out to Detroit, Motown. They brought in Matt Stafford, who I thought really deserved an opportunity to be traded to a contender. Matt Stafford, in my lifetime, is one of the best quarterbacks I've ever seen in my lifetime, college and pro. I think he's a certified Hall of Famer, and last night solidified that, I think. I don't think anybody's ever questioned Matt Stafford's talent, but the question was, could he propel a team to a Super Bowl? And those questions were answered last night. His game wasn't, it was not a masterpiece per se, but his numbers, I think, were solid. And considering the fact he didn't have both of his tight ends, his starting tight end or his backup tight end, and then losing Odell Beckham Jr., I think played a major part in last night's game. You could definitely see when Odell went out how the offense slowed up. Odell, in my opinion, was on his way to a Super Bowl MVP, if not for that injury. Speaking of that, Odell Beckham is one of my favorite guys in the league. I thought he got a bad rap when he was in New York. He's an emotional guy, but he's a good guy. It's different between being like an emotional guy and being Antonio Brown, or being an emotional guy and being someone like Odell Beckham Jr. They're totally different. They bring you two different things, and I think a lot of times Odell's emotions would get to him, and he would, maturity get in the way, things would happen, and he got a bad rap in New York, and then he went to Cleveland, and I thought he was the consummate professional there. He did everything he could to stay loyal to that team and be professional. But if nothing else, what we saw was that Odell Beckham Jr. is still one of the top receivers in the NFL. He still has the talent. And I hope that the Rams sign him to a long-term deal and keep him, because it seems like it's just a great fit there with him and McVay, Stafford, and Cooper Kupp. So I would like to see him stay there and finish out his career. You know what I mean? Because I think the guy still has a lot of talent left, and I think he still has some years of being an all-pro receiver in him. So I was very happy to see him. You know, he got hurt and he was on the sideline, and I can only imagine how much it was killing him. The guy fought so hard to get there just to get hurt and have to stand on the sideline and watch. I'm sure, you know, I knew his heart was heavy. And you could see as soon as that last play happened, you know, from Aaron Donald, all those emotions just came out of Odell. Like, he just cried. Like, you almost felt for him. Like, you know what I mean? So, shout out to Odell Beckham Jr. And I'm so happy for him that he finally got his championship ring, because I think he deserves it, man. Like, the guy's been through a lot. Cooper Kupp, you know, God, man, like, arguably one of the best, or if not the best season of all time in football from an individual. I mean, the guy had the Triple Crown, he was All-Pro, led the league, and I believe receiving yards. Then caps it off with not only a Super Bowl, but gets the Super Bowl MVP. He wasn't necessarily my Super Bowl MVP, but I had no argument with, you know, making him the Super Bowl MVP, because he had an outstanding game. Made some key plays at the end of that, at the stretch of that game last night, which is huge. And you know, big players are supposed to step up in big moments, and that's exactly what him and Stafford did last night. Shout out to him, man. Like, he, you know, guy out of Eastern Michigan, didn't have any scholarship offers out of high school, and just worked his butt off, worked his tail off when he got to college, and showed everyone that, you know, like, I'm going to show you that I could be a good player. And it just, you know, he's a testament to what hard work and determination means. So shout out to him, and I wish him nothing but the best with continued success throughout his career. God, man, I want to talk about Aaron Donald, man. Like, that's Aaron Donald. Now, anybody that knows me knows I am, I say my support or fan of Ray Lewis it doesn't even speak to it enough. Ray Lewis is someone that I truly admire on many levels. But Aaron Donald, he is one of the greatest defensive players, if not overall players, I have ever seen in the NFL. What makes it crazy is the guy is an interior lineman, and how he impacts games from the middle of the defense like that. It's just very difficult for guys that are defensive tackles, especially interior linemen, to impact games because of their assignments and because of you know, their responsibilities and things that they have to do. You know, the fact that, you know, they're in the trenches literally every snap. That's not easy. And if you just watch Aaron Donald, like, not even talking about when he sacks the quarterback or anything like that, just watch his relentless pressure. Like, he gets off the ball, and he literally gets the best out of every offensive tackle every snap. You know, the Bengals were double teaming him. You can see they're chip blocking, doing all this stuff. And this dude literally, this dude was in every single play. You know what I mean? Like, even when he was not making a play, the fact that you have to double him, you know, just makes it easier for guys like Von Bell on that line. You know, I truly admire, and what I also like about him is that he's a humble, respectful guy. He's a team guy. You can tell he's all about just work. And that type of stuff is infectious. Like, if I'm on that team and I see Aaron Donald out there, you know, not taking a play off, you know, staying positive, being, you know, just being a indication of hard work and commitment, and, like, you know, just being locked into the team goals and team focuses. Like, that stuff is all about culture. And I'm a big culture guy too, not just talent. You know, I feel like there's some guys that we're not the most talented guys, but the energy and culture that they breeded for success speaks more to their greatness. And that's why that's why I'm a huge Ray Lewis fan, mostly because of that. It wasn't just because of his talent. And you're seeing a lot of the same traits out of Aaron Donald as well. This guy literally, he's made a play in every single playoff game that determined the game. Every single one throughout this playoff run for them. What's funny is I'm watching the game last night, and I think it was like 40-something seconds left. Fourth down, I think it was. And all I'm saying to myself is, Aaron Donald's going to make a play. This is not the position that the Bengals want to be in. Aaron Donald's going to make a play. And then what happens? Boom. It was like a replica of the 49ers game. Almost the same exact outcome, in terms of the sack. So much respect, much love to Aaron Donald, man. Like, it's a pleasure watching him play. And he manifested this too, man. Like, you could see his determination and fight, throughout this entire playoff run to ensuring that they finished, that they, ran through that finish line and became Super Bowl champions. That's what it's about, man. Like, you gotta manifest the success that you want, and in a humble way, he did that. And I am a huge Aaron Donald fan. You're talking about a guy that's been in the league for 8 seasons, and 7 out of the 8 seasons he's been in the league is all pro. 7 out of the 8 seasons he's been in the league, he's been the best defensive player in the league. He's the closest defensive presence, defensive impactor is what I'll call him, to Lawrence Taylor. Ray Lewis was obviously great in his own right, and Ray Lewis did a lot of different things at the middle linebacker spot that a lot of people didn't really even see, or a lot of the intangibles. But in terms of just pure dominance, Aaron Donald is definitely one of the greatest, if not the greatest, that I've seen. So much love, shout out to him. But yeah, overall, I thought it was great coverage all around. When you add the Super Bowl, I thought the pregame coverage was pretty good. I always appreciate that, getting the commentary from the analysts and the guys close to the sport. You couldn't ask for a better environment. I mean, it was in LA. You know what I mean? Like, I saw people that had some criticism about that because it was basically a home game for the Rams. But so what? Like, if you ask me, I wouldn't mind if it's in LA and Vegas every year. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's better weather. I've been to, when the Super Bowl was in New York, I've been to, like, events and stuff like that for it. It was snow. It was cold. It was at Giant Stadium, so all the events were in New York City, but the game was across the way in New Jersey. Like, so as much as I appreciated it being in New York and going to those events and stuff like that, I thought it was pretty dope. It just wasn't I don't think it's the ideal situation for Super Bowl. And I thought that atmosphere in LA this week had to be dope and amazing. I mean, I obviously wasn't there, but I could only imagine. So I have no problem with it being in LA. And if the Rams are going to go every year, then that's just what it is. But yeah, great Super Bowl, great finish to another amazing NFL season. I'm looking forward to seeing what type of transactions happen in the offseason. Anybody knows me too, I'm a big NFL football draft fan, so I already look forward to that. This year's draft is not going to be as strong as it was last year, at least at this point I don't see it, mainly because you're not getting like those, surefire quarterbacks, and there's not a ton of like skill position guys in this draft that are elite talents, at least from the outset. And obviously, NFL draft, everything changes, but from where we are today, February 14th, Valentine's Day, by the way, the draft does not look like it's going to be a very strong one, but nonetheless, I'm always going to be a fan of the NFL draft. So, shout out to the Rams for your NFL 2022 Super Bowl champions. Much respect to the Bengals. Shout out to Dr. Dre, 50 Cent, Snoop, Kendrick Lamar, Mary J, Eminem for a great halftime show. Peace.